In previous part, I told you how we created the server side using Java for the TCP server and client. So if you observe inside our IDE or code, I'm using here port number int as 1500, 1500 as a port number. So as you can see, I'm using some default things here. So you should require this JavaNet library, and by default it is TCP connection. It's handled using TCP protocol, all the closing and each and everything. So what I'm going to do is now I'm need to create some client threads. As I mentioned here, I'm using client thread. But what is the client thread? It will use the some multi-threading concepts. So before that, I will explain multi-threading concepts. So TCP server client, as I told you, there is one client process and server process. Yeah. What it will be happen when server code runs on the server side, it will be live, or we can say online. Now client will ask to server or request the server to join me inside that server. So this is one client process. Inside that, it consists TCP IP network with network driver. Throughout the network and another network driver, it will be connected to this. So there is one socket layer, device layer, protocol layer, each and everything inside TCP server client process. So this is only one client, but in our case, we need more processes, which is basically more clients. For that purpose, we can create more processes, but our server's program, or we can say server configuration, which is I am considering here localhost, my own machine, is very less compatible for handling such processes. It can handle around 10 process, 12 process. But in a real scenario, we want to connect more clients. Like in a group of your any chat system, you have 100 participants, basically 100 clients. Similarly, I want to create such a scenario. For that purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to handle it by multi-threading. So what is multi-threading? You know the process. What you can do, you can divide that process into task 1 and task 2. So that is the multi-thread concepts. You can divide the process into different threads, and you can create as a task, and you can use that process as a task. So consider like you want to take some or you want to buy some vegetables from market, but you have given the sequence like first, then or you can say you have to buy some 3 vegetables, 4 vegetables, but sequence is not given. What you can do, and you want to buy also fruits, so meanwhile you can buy 1 vegetable, you can buy 1 fruit. After that you can buy 2 vegetables, you can buy 1 fruit again. According to timestamp, the system requirement, system configuration, multi-thread will be handled through the virtual machine. So if that such task, like process divided into the task, 4 tasks, 5 tasks is divided. For second task, if it's taking too much time, our Java virtual machine actually calculates how much time it requires. But if that time is more than other process task, it will use that process and it simultaneously runs both processes. In this, time will be very less, or we can say time complexity will be very less. Our system utilization is at maximum level. So multi-threading is a good application part for our chat. So what is multi-threading in a Java? Multi-threading in a Java is a process of executing multiple threads simultaneously. As I told you, threads are basically tasks in or sub-processes, you can say. So you can execute multi-thread simultaneously. A thread is lightweight sub-process, smallest unit of processing. Multiprocessing and multi-threading both are used to achieve multitasking. What is multitasking now? We can say I am connecting a client. As I am telling you, I am creating client thread here. So what it will be do? It will similarly give that client information to server. Simultaneously, it will connect that client to the server. Simultaneously, it will ask name for that client. Then simultaneously, it will ask for a message. Simultaneously, server can do some another utilization also. So what it will be do while inviting a clients or inviting a users, server never be down, we can say server always be live. So multi-threading is a Java feature that allows concurrent execution of two or more parts of program for the maximum utilization of CPU, or you can say process, or your system. Each part of such program is called as a thread. So thread is a lightweight process within a process. So what you can do, you can perform threads using two mechanisms: expanding a thread class, implementing a runnable phase interface basically. So these are the two methods, or you can say two given types of Java. Both work similar. There is no difference between of them. There are slight difference in the runnable interface and thread class. Here I am creating another class, client thread, and I am going to expand that to the thread class, which is basically default class. So let me go with that. Okay, so as I told you, we are done with this, with some client thread. Now what I'm going to do is I'm mentioning the class here. The class name should be client thread, because as I mentioned already, client thread extends thread. So as you can see, I invoke that client thread part, and you can see now this is invoking, like that class is invoking here client thread and each and everything as a top. I know this is program is very lengthy, so I am explaining step by step. Then I need to, what I need to create is, this is only one instance. I will explain here. One instance of this thread will run for each client. So for each client, it will execute one thread, and we can create more than 100 to 1000 threads in Java according to the that Java JVM, as it's a virtual machine. So we no need to require some any higher computer, or we can say you can invoke it as much you want. Then I need to create socket here, socket to get message. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention socket, that socket. Then object input stream I need to maintain, because why I'm using object input stream you will understand here. Let me put this as input. We already mentioned here. Let me check where I mentioned that s input. So s input is for the putting that inside the s, or we can say object output stream. As this is the array list, I need to create object output stream, input stream. For that purpose, I created s input variable here already. I mentioned here now because I haven't created that part. If you want to create, you can create first client thread, and you can go to the main part. But I'm going as a, then I need to mention object output stream s output. Then need to mention unique ID. Why unique ID? It is easier for deconnecting everything. It is very easier if you are exiting that part. Username, which is basically string. As I told you, I already created each and everything here. Then message object to receive message. So what it will be do? It's a chat message CM. So I will tell you why I'm using here chat message and what is the chat message here. I already created this chat message, as you can see this class. So I will create one program here and I'm using that program inside this. I haven't created, I will create that part. Time, for that time, what I'm mentioning here is string date. Then I need to create constructor, because for the passing value you can directly pass through the what you can say arguments, or you can create a constructor for that purpose. For that purpose, what I'm going to client thread, same name, socket should be there. Socket should be there. What you can say, arguments. Again, ID is very important, because ID is equal to plus plus unique ID. So what is this unique ID I'm going to do is, I'm going to create that later. I will tell you. So let me check all the things here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is plus plus unique ID basically is what I'm going to do is, then socket, socket is equal to socket. So it will defaultly go further and further and assigning to that part. And what I'm going to mention is here some statement to check everything correct or not, or you can say thread is trying to create each and everything you can do. I will print this here, object output streams. So we already created this part, and what I'm going to do is now I'm going to check here basically, because I made a mistake in naming part, which is basically this should be, because it should be plus plus in that part now. So what I did is I just use that part. So what is doing is okay. So why it is giving me the error is basically because of I created a private static int unique ID, and what I did is I closed that class already inside main method, you can say this class. So what I can do is, instead of closing this class inside this, I can close this inside this. So now you can say unique ID will be running. So the errors will be less here. Now this is for the server, this is for the client threads, and this is for the client thread. So inside this I need to create each and everything. I need to invoke that socket. So what I'm going to do is, after this is done, I need to create one what we can say, creating socket or creating a connection. I already mentioned each and everything above, but I need to mention the S output, S input, each and everything. So let me do that stuff first. It should be in try catch block. So what is the significance of this is, add a catch clause. We need to mention the IO exception also here. Okay, so I will explain it later. Let me do that stuff first. What I am mentioning here is, I created object output stream, and inside this I am putting that inputting. As I told you, I created already. Similarly for the S input, using this I am reading the username and putting that read object, and I am broadcasting it directly to the notify, which is basically that star part. And after this catch clause, I need to mention that extra catch clause for the class not found also. So this is also required. So now you can say read object will be gone, and what I'm going to do is system dot out dot println key. I'm printing that stuff. So this is it how we can mention this. And after this I need to mention the date also, because it should print a date. So after this it will print the date. So this is it how you can create this client constructor and each and everything. So now we are remaining with some more extra part with get username concepts and each and everything. I will tell you in this only how we are going to do that stuffs, and hope you understand this. Stick to this topic, and in a later part I'm going to create some Java swing also. So I will tell you, but inside that I'm not mentioning all the stuffs. I'm mentioning the only that part and some string concepts. So this is it how we can create a server part. We are remaining with client part also. Client part is very easy, so we can create in within a around 50 lines of code. And chat message, I'm going to mention all the chat messages. So once we establish all the server connection, we can proceed with client and chat message also.